So we are back with the Music Marketing Psychology series, and today's muse is going to be Rated R. By far my favorite era and body of work presented by Rihanna. I actually have a couple. Anti was runner-up. It was neck and neck. It was up there, but Rated R, I remember exactly where I was when it dropped. I remember going and getting a physical copy of the CD. I remember waiting for each music video to come out. It was chef's kiss. I love this era so bad. But nevertheless, we're gonna get into the symbolism, a lot of the psychological symbolism behind the Rated R era, at least what I personally picked up on, and how I can also reference it as the blueprint for strategic marketing. So of course, first and foremost, let's get into the color psychology. This body of work was very simple. There were a lot of blacks. It was black eyeliner, heavy black shadow, black nails, dark lipstick, and even in most of the visuals for this Rated R era, presented by Rihanna, a lot of it was black and white. The colors of the video, even if there were some pops of color here and there, most of the time we saw a lot of black and white visuals, mainly black, which is very on brand with the essence of this body of work. This body of work, hence the title Rated R, was designed to be raw and explicit. It was designed to be vulnerable, and it was also designed to be reserved for a mature audience. Not literally, of course, because I was a kid listening to it, but the message and the symbolism behind it, clearly it was leaning towards a more mature audience and a mature consumer pool. But the color black is very significant with this body of work because black is all about power. And black is also about authority. And you can tell with this particular project, Rihanna was taking ownership and authority over her image. Now, another thing that I love about Rihanna when it comes to brand and strategic marketing, especially with her, music, is there was a sequence with her evolution. So first and foremost, we had Good Girl Gone Bad, which was giving us a snapshot of the direction that she was going to be headed for the next couple of projects. And then we got Rated R. So even though Good Girl Gone Bad was a stark difference from the first project she put out, which was very lighthearted, pop leaning, but we also had some references to reggae here and there and R&B. It was a good melting pot. And I think that's also what I really respect about Rihanna's discography is no matter the body of work, she has always experimented with different genres, whether it be pop, whether it be rock, whether it be reggae, or also R&B. I cannot forget R&B. For each musical body of work that she's put out, experimentation was always at the forefront, while simultaneously mastering preserving her personal brand. And Good Girl Gone Bad was the catalyst for that. Most of the projects that Rihanna put out after Good Girl Gone Bad were rebellious leaning. It was going against the status quo, going against the narrative that people are trying to box you into. And she sustained that, whether it be with Loud, which was a testament to being loud and proud with your image, with your narrative. Also, like I said before, another body of work that I absolutely love, Anti, which was all about being against whatever other people want you to do and being very intentional about sitting in the driver's seat of one's own life. Another great project that I think was a testament to that rebellious leaning narrative was Talk That Talk. With this body of work, Rihanna was signaling hey, I can walk it and I can talk it. So I got a little bit of a braggadocious, almost like a hint of an arrogant vibe with it too. Of course, not saying that about Rihanna, but the music and the lyrics and the tone of it definitely was popping it. I'll put it like that. With that body of work, Rihanna was definitely popping it. But back to our reference for this video today, Rated R. Rated R was all about vulnerability and being explicit. So taking away the shame and the taboo of being transparent as far as your personal narrative, what you've gone through, and maybe even having some conversations that are uncomfortable. And I think that Rihanna did a great job embodying a lot of these elements within the Rated R era specifically. Now, of course, the next breakdown of the brand analysis / music marketing psychology is the season that the project was launched. This was launched in the month of November, which I absolutely love because that's typically the time where I like to say it gets spooky. That October, November season, it's fall, of course, it's autumn, but it can feel a little bit more spooky. Some people, wear costumes during this time. It's kind of scary movie vibe. A lot of people like to watch scary movies during this particular season. So with the Rated R project and it leaning more towards like a mystique and almost like a taboo aesthetic, I think that launching this project in November was absolutely perfect. It was very on brand with how a lot of people feel during this time. And even with a lot of the visuals, right, which was very alternative leaning. I love this project. Oh my gosh, you guys. I loved everything about this project. Just phenomenal. It was very alternative and rock leaning. And with this particular genre, I feel like a lot of people reference hip hop solely for popping it, but rock music, alternative music is also popping it. So it was just perfect to see how she implemented this in this project, and her team, how they were just like, what, with the essence of this particular body of work, we need to bring in some rock elements and some alternative elements to really put the stamp on your I don't care what anyone thinks, I don't care what anyone feels era. It was, oh my gosh, it was so perfect. So even with the season and the visuals, and even pulling from different genres in a very fitting genre such as rock and alternative, it was a perfect melting pot. Another thing that I want to highlight when it came to the Rated R era is rebrands are risky. And that's where the confidence component is going to be very imperative for the artist. If you are going to do a rebrand, you have to go into it full throttle. And what I love about her team, whoever her consultants were at the time, is they did a great job preparing her audience for it with the Good Girl Gone Bad project of like, okay, this is where we're going, because by the time Rated R launched, it was like, okay, we're in it now. Like, it's no going back. And I absolutely love that. So when it comes to rebranding, not even just for musicians, as I always say with this series, but you could be a creative, you can be an influencer. If you're interested in rebranding, you can't be scared. There's no half-stepping. You have to take that risk and you have to be bold about it, because if you're signaling that you're not sure, then your audience is going to become apprehensive as well. So the same thing applies even if you are trying to market a particular project or a product. If you're giving vibes that you're apprehensive, you're automatically going to turn off your consumer pool. Hence why when you go full throttle with the rebrand, having strategy behind it is very important. So just like as I referenced before, the fact that Rihanna and her team prepared her consumer pool for, hey, we're shifting gears and we're headed in this direction. Even with Good Girl Gone Bad, there were certain visuals and songs that were leaning towards like alternative and rock during that phase before we started to see more of it with Rated R, such as Shut Up and Drive and Disturbia. So by the time we get to Rated R, songs like Rockstar aren't too like, whoa, what's happening here? People are prepared because we already were getting glimpses of what the next era was going to look like. So before you do that rebrand, make sure that you are being strategic when you step into that transition. And as I said before, I believe that Rated R was just the perfect embodiment of this process. Now, the next thing I want to lean into is being okay with the pushback, being okay with people being apprehensive with the rebrand, which is kind of piggybacking off of the point that I just now made, right? Being bold and confident, which also ties to the color analysis that we did before, black. But the color black is all about authority, confidence, and power. But there's another element to it that I want to add, and it's being okay with individuals not necessarily understanding the rebrand. So here's the thing about rebranding. If you lose some people, you have to be at peace with that. Sometimes rebranding is going to look like rebuilding as well. Even if that may look like you lose a significant amount of an audience, but you end up building a bigger one with this new launch or with this new project. But the key is with the rebrand, you have to make sure that it's on stable foundation, meaning that when you do this rebrand, you have an intention to ride this out. This is the longevity game. So if you know that this is going to be a phase, this particular rebrand thing, I wouldn't encourage you. I wouldn't encourage you to do it. But if you know it's going to be the backbone of the trajectory of your project, your product, your career, whatever, then be prepared for the rebuilding as well. What actually got me thinking about this was the excerpt in the publication Green Eyes titled Be the Villain. And in that excerpt is pretty much teaching people when you are dealing with pushback from certain individuals, there are instances where it's actually not beneficial for you to explain yourself or to go into overdrive with people pleasing. Sometimes you being painted out as the villain is the incentive you need to go into your rebranding era. And with Rated R, presented by Rihanna, it's a lot of R's here. The roundabout message is utilizing the power of rebranding and resilience, while also being raw and real in the process, is a powerful marketing strategy for building a brand. Calling all musicians, songwriters, producers, agencies, executives, and everyone in between. You can receive assistance with talent sourcing, music marketing, and creative direction by partnering with Perry Publishing Services. With the Artist and Repertoire Service, the goal is to bridge the gap between talent and placement. Perry Publishing Services allocates respective talent to executives, agents, and scouts. Agencies, executives, musicians, songwriters, producers can submit their contact information on the website with details on what they need assistance with. Are you a musician exhausted by fighting against the algorithm? No worries, we have something for you. As an artist, rather than competing with the algorithm, find ways to work around it. Work around saturation with strategy. There will be a webinar happening this year, August 26, 2026, as well as September 2nd, 2026 at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. In this webinar, musicians, producers, songwriters will learn about different options that are out there for them to start getting paid for their work, no matter their following count or algorithm exposure. As I always say, just because you have a lot of eyes on you, that doesn't guarantee that those eyes are converting to consumer engagement and sales. As an artist, the compensation will come when you learn the business strategy behind music marketing. So be sure to secure your spot following the link in the description box. And I look forward to seeing my musicians there.